Welcome to another episode of Barn Saturdays, and this week I also decided to take a look at a film that encapsulates the 80s, Short Circuit. And if I had to pick a film that encapsulates the 80s for the science fiction genre, outside of Terminator and RoboCop, I'd have to pick Short Circuit. Sure, it's probably not as good as those two films, but this one holds up fairly well in my opinion. You know, it's still a fun watch, though I suppose I might be blinded by childhood nostalgia, because I watched this film quite a lot when I was growing up. Because my youngest brother, was really fond of the second film, so we'd watch it quite a bit while traveling in the van, while grocery shopping and stuff with our parents. So, if it wasn't this one, it was a sequel I'd be watching, rather frequently. I wouldn't put it in triple digits, but I definitely say I've seen this movie well in the double digits. Probably a couple dozen times. Sometimes not from beginning to end, but definitely good chunks of it. So a lot of the scenes, are still burned in my memory. My retinas will not allow me to forget, when Johnny Five took apart a car in all about, 2 minutes. I seriously don't know how he took the car apart that fast. I know he's a robot, but I imagine it takes a lot more effort than that, to rip off the car doors, start taking apart the drive shaft and all that stuff, and just start laying it out nice and neatly. Like, how fast can he... I know he can read fast, but how fast can he disassemble something? There's time elapses like that. You're like, how on earth did he do that so quickly? Like, are we just, assuming he got the fight between, Stephanie and her former boyfriend, went on a lot longer than we saw or something? Or what? Like, was there just a time warp? Or is Johnny Five, inhumanly fast when he wants to be? Like, when you're watching him, he moves at a good pace, but when you're not watching him, all of a sudden he becomes, like a super robot that can move at, like, the speed of light. Like, yeah, if you're watching me, I have to move at a certain speed, but if you're not watching me, I'm like one of those angels from Doctor Who, and I'll be, like, on your butt before you even know what happened, Like, I'll just be there. You're like, how does that work? It's just a weird, quirky rule of the universe, When you're not watching Johnny Five is a ninja, okay? Sort of like when he sets up the rope trap, like, how did he have time for that? Like, as soon as he finds the rope, he's then being shot at, and he somehow sets up a trap, instantly. To catch another robot, like, dang. Ninja robots, okay? But yeah, as far as I'm concerned, Short Circuit's still a fun movie to sit through. Not as funny as I remember, but I will have to admit I didn't remember all the crude and crass jokes that were in it, somewhat. There's more than a few innuendos thrown about, especially with Johnny Five when he walks in Stephanie while she's bathing and starts complimenting her for her software. Yeah, when you get older, you're like, oh, I get what they're going for there. Seems a bit weird watching a robot, hit on a woman. I guess maybe that was part of the reasoning for the Futurama episode, when Amy fell in love with Bender. They're like, well, they did in Short Circuit. We should address that, and have robosexuals. Futurama have to fight for their right to be robosexuals. And there's even jokes by Steve Gutenberg at one point that how Johnny Five was invented to be a marital aid. Which basically seems to imply that he was made to be, a sex doll. Which I suppose does raise interesting questions nowadays, considering they're actually, making actual sex dolls capable of responding to you. And one of my coworkers was asking me about those on the grounds that it's part of his programming classes, I guess, where he has to talk about the ethics of creating such devices. That's just a weird tangent. But yeah, as far as I'm concerned, this film still holds up fairly well. Though I'm probably blinded by childhood nostalgia. Till next time, then. See ya.
Hey, where are you guys going? Who's asking? A wise guy. Excuse this. And this.
Cut it out.
No, Kiki, numbskulls.